he wasn't that great a guitar player.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good, man. He was good, but he wasn't like stellar. So they wanted to take it to another level.
Well, and a lot of those guys were really good musicians.
So he kind of quit and left them in the lurch. So they said, they called me and I went down. So I auditioned. I played one song with him, and they said, okay, he's in. Right, and then it was a crazy summer because we played 30 times in August.
Wow.
It was only 31 days.
So you played like every day.
So it was like a show where you went on stage with shorts and Hawaiian shirts
yes.
and sandals
And
every
the shot
night.
ski. And the shot ski.
Every night you did that. And at the beginning, they were just throwing me some Hawaiian shirts that they had, the guys, so I'd have something to wear. Because, I mean, I was literally 2-week practice out. We were out on the gig.
That's because you were like the add-in, like you were the new guy.
No,
so
but it was hard.
But they needed you like right away.
Yeah, it was difficult. And then we'd have practice in the middle of the week, one night or 2 nights to learn more of their songs.
Mm.
And I tell you, I learned like 40 songs in less than 2 weeks.
Jeez, see, that's talent.
And we were out, and that was a long stint too. I lasted 7 years with them, which was more than I should have.
Yeah, you were. That, well, I feel like past Destiny, I feel like the Baha Brothers was the other big part of your music.
But that was a drunken free-for-all with those guys.
Yeah, but you know, the thing I think, in my opinion, that made the Baha Brothers different than all the other bands was that they had like an act.
Yeah, and they needed somebody who could produce.
Well, they had an act. Like, they, outside of just the music, like, they were putting on a persona.
They needed somebody to give it more personality, and I was a guy. And I started out in the background. By the time I left them, I was practically the front man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people would come to see you. Yeah, I remember. Well, like, but with the Baha Brothers, like, you traveled. Like, this is where you started to actually, like, travel. Like, you were going on cruises, the Baha cruises. You were going, like, out to, like, bumfuck Egypt. You know, but you were traveling around. I mean, you played
South
with Jimmy
Dakota,
Buffett. You
we
were
went,
playing with John Cafferty
Yeah,
and them
we
guys.
did all these guys. We played with all these guys.
Yeah, so, I mean, to me, like, the Baha Brothers was, like, the next big part of your life. But I think it had, by then, you were...
well, when they owned the restaurant, which they owned.
Oh, Jesus, the restaurant.
Well, they...
This is how I know
Ernie
them.
Ernie and the Automatics came in.
Yeah.
Which was Ernie Bach, the car dealer, but it was a good percentage of the band Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these guys that came out, a bunch of dudes come out to see Barry Goodrow from Boston play, and Jay said, "This is crazy, but we're the opening act. They came to see Barry, but they're watching you."
Oh, Jesus.
And he didn't look happy with me at all,
Oh, well,
because
yeah.
we're the opener. We're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're doing
But
your
I didn't
thing.
give a shit. Well, that's what the Cafferty thing. We would open for him.
He was cool, though.
Yeah, but he told me a story. I talked to him all back. He told me a story about they had the #1 album in the country, 1980, whatever, and he was going to get interviewed by Martha Quinn, who was a VJ on MTV. And at that time, MTV was a big not.
Oh,
like
I
today.
remember Martha Quinn.
And so it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So she's talking to him backstage before they went on. And she goes like, "Well, I'm Martha Quinn." He goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I'm a VJ on MTV," and he looks at her right before the camera came on. He goes, I don't even have cable." He said, and she was like totally disgusted with it, And she looked so angry in the interview. If you look back on it, I've watched it a few times. And after he told me that, I looked back on it and looked it up. And I was laughing my ass off because I knew what happened beforehand.
That is fucking hilarious.
He said the weirdest thing, they were playing clubs in California. There were nobody. Mm-hmm. And then like a week later, they were opening up for the Beach Boys at Otis Air Force Base. Beach Boys are standing on the side of the stage with their arms folded, watching them. Like,
I think when did he come down to the Sandbar? Was it like a New Year's thing or something?
No, it was just a show. They
right.
promoted it.
Well, I got to meet him.
He was cool because he was very famous, and he told me that he was sitting around with a bunch of lawyers and legal people, and they were talking about business, and he was so sick of it one day, and he's sitting at he's just listening. And one day he just got up and went, "I quit. I quit."
I'm fucking
he
done.
said, like, "I'm done with you guys." And they said he left, and he went out in the hotel bar, and there was a band playing, and he was sitting there by the bar, and he was tapping his foot, and he was drinking a beer, and he goes, "This is why I did this. This is why I got into music." So he went home, took all his songs, and the band, and they kept practicing, but they were hitting all these, like, big local venues. and he was, just telling them how much he wanted, and he would promote, he would do all the business for the band, and they didn't want anything big time. So now you get this big famous guy playing at a place like the Sandbar, and they probably sold 300 tickets, and we opened up for him. So he had this famous Telecaster that was on all his videos and everything. Well, he's on stage playing. The end of the night, we all went up on stage with him, and he's doing some rock song, rocking the night away or something. So in the middle of the song, I'm standing next to him singing on mic with him, and all of a sudden, it's out there on YouTube. You see the video, and he pulls off the guitar, and he looks at me, and he says something, and I'm like, all right. He put that guitar on me, and I says, oh, man, I don't know. I know what this is. Oh, no. He says, oh, you're a better guitar player than I've ever been. And then he went out in the crowd and started working the crowd. So Billy looks over with these big eyes like, oh, my God. I'm like, I was afraid to play the thing, but I just said, thinking I was going to rip up a few solos on it.
Yeah.
So I did,
How was that? Must have been fun.
Yeah, sax player says, oh, no, bring it down. Yeah, fuck off. I said like that, because they had the movie Eddie and the Cruisers.
Yeah.
And all the music from Eddie and the Cruisers is Beaver Brown music from John Cafferty. Mm-hmm. But the thing was, they would show up to play, and they were famous, but they'd show, we're Beaver Brown. No, you're not, because they thought it was the band from the movie.
Yeah.
The only original player that was in the movie was the sax player. He was in the movie.
Yeah.
But everybody else wasn't. So he said he had the #1 album in the country. He could walk down the street, nobody even knew who he was.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, he liked it.
Yeah, I bet.
Because he's just a guy from Narragansett, Rhode Island. He's just a local fella, Little League coach, and,
Like I said, I met him one time, and,
cool guy, wasn't he?
I don't have, any prolific stories, but, he was super cool. He just seemed like a regular
nice
guy. I didn't even know who he was or anything.
We went back one time when he came for 2 hours talking. Billy said, what are you talking about? Little League baseball. No. We were talking about Little League baseball because I told him my father was big in Little League and Taunton, and he elaborated on all the stuff.
What did Grandpa think about the music stuff?
Oh, he loved it.
Yeah.
He loved everything we were doing. He would come to gigs. When we were trying to be the rock band, he would come to Astro's Backdoor Pub.
Oh, boy.
You know where that was?
No.
Old Taunton Mall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where that's at.
And there was a restaurant in there or whatever. But it was called Astro's Backdoor Pub. You had a back door that you could come in to go to just to the pub instead of in the restaurant part. But he was actually doing the door after a while.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he had a big white beard. He had grown a beard, and he was running the door.
Maybe that's where I get all this gray in my beard.
And he loved the band.
Yeah.
He just...
I unfortunately don't have any memories of him. I mean, very...
Well, he died in 85. You were 5
I was
years
5
old.
years old.
You're the only of your cousins and everybody that actually has a visual of him.
Yeah. I mean, I have a very slight memory, but I wish I could have gotten.
I think Rachel was 2 years old when he died.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Melanie would have been.
He used to go to the gigs.
Yeah,
he loved it. We used to jam on the porch at my home. Like I was telling you about the other band. Me and my buddy Dave Lewis, he was a guitar player. And we used to turn these amps up wicked loud on the porch and play. He'd come out and sit on the steps of the porch with a cup of coffee while we were wailing away.
Is this Somerset?
Yeah, and he would say like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good."
That house, man, has a lot of stories.
Well, it's been owned for 50 years by my family.
That house has a lot of stories,
and it's generation after generation has gone through it.
I
was the first wave.
I told my wife that if she ever decides to sell that house and we're at a position to buy it, I'm buying it.
Well, it's going to get sold eventually.
I know.
It's coming.
And if I have
It's coming sooner than you think, too.
I would like to buy it.
It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Because Brad and Alicia are going to move out. Enough about that. We'll get back to the show. But
I just can't imagine a world I live in where I wouldn't be able to go back there.
That house will be available soon.
I've since a baby. I've been going
I'd
to
say
that
a couple
house.
years it'll be up for sale.
I've been going there since
I think
was
she's
a
had
baby.
enough.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. That house has meant a lot to a lot of people.
She's had enough. I mean, the
but
kids are growing up, and there's no new generation really doing anything.
But to a lot
of
us, that house represents more than just a house.
Well, there were big gangs of guys, people that had generations that partied over there and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's no one in the next generation to do that.
What do you mean? There's partying now.
Yeah, but the next generation isn't coming. That's going to end with you guys.
Yeah, probably.
Well, like the Brad's friends, they do it too.
Well, I mean,
but that's going to be
Brad
gone.
and Kyle are younger than us, but they're still technically part of our generation.
But they had that thing too with their friends.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brad just became a cop. He's going to, and that's they're going to sell the house when he moves out. Probably Kyle's off. So that's going to end now.
I'm leaving all this in. Well, all right, so let's get back to the music.
Yeah, please.
Oh, yeah, well, I could have gone off about this house.
The Baja thing, what you were talking about, it was just 5 guys in a bus.
Well,
with captain's chairs that traveled with a trailer.
You're
to
at a
different
point, though,
places.
where, like, you're just a couple weeks in and they're handing you shirts. Like, did you see yourself staying with them for so long?
No, not at all.
No.
I just joined it to make some money for a few years.
And you ended up staying for quite a few years.
At the beginning, we were pulling in $1,000 every weekend a piece. And,
hell yeah.
but it got worse.
I didn't know that. Now I know why you
After
stayed.
they owned the restaurant, though, things got kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
But for the first 3 years, we were killing it.
Yeah.
And we went to South Dakota, played in front of 30,000 people. And
Yep.
you know,
That's what I was talking about, like, when you went out Midwest. Like, I know you did some traveling. You
we
played
went to
some
a place
big shows.
in Ipswich, this big, like, castle place, and we would play out back there. There'd be thousands of people.
Yeah.
One night, Jay says, "Hey, over there, there's a whole section chanting your name right now."
Hey.
Let's go back, like that. And it was funny. I said, "Oh, my God, they really are." Right? You know, right? And, I mean, we played one in... and the big gig we did was a couple thousand people under a tent, big giant tent, you know, the big ones like a circus tent, in Nantucket called the Fagawi Boat Race, and we would play for that. It's like 2 nights on Memorial Day weekend. We did it 2 years, but the first year, thousands of drunk girls and stuff. It's like 6 to 9 at night, and they're drunk like it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, jeez.
So we would go out and do our thing in the crowd. We walk around the crowd and play and stuff. Well, the first year, they didn't have a barrier up. You just went out in the crowd. So we get back on stage, all kinds of weird stuff happening, grabbing all. So we get back on stage, and the sax player says to me, "Somebody grabbed my ass." And you know what I said to him? "Don't feel bad. Some girl licked me in the face."
Oh, my God.
She called me over like she was going to whisper something, and then she took her tongue and licked right up the whole side of my face.
Holy shit, man.
And I went back on stage, "That's it, no more."
These girls are fucking hammered.
Oh, they were hammered.
Oh, my God.
You'd see them walking through the cobblestone street of Nantucket afterwards. We'd be
Breaking
riding.
ankles.
Yeah, they would dress up in heels and dresses. They were trying to get rich guys.
Oh.
And they'd be so drunk, and they'd be walking, the heels would be
don't they
snapping.
know that they shouldn't go after the musicians then?
No, but they just were crazy.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And that lick thing, I could not believe that happened to me. and well, we got to stay in a house, and we stayed usually with the security people.
Is this
that
the
were
flop
working.
house I always hear about?
No, this was in Nantucket.
Oh, okay.
They had, that's a whole nother story.
Oh, yeah,
But
we're going to get there.
That Nantucket thing, they gave us a house, but we stayed with the security team. And, you know, girls were always trying to get to me. I was married. So I stood up and talked to this girl till like 3 in the morning, just shooting the shit. We were friends.
Hell
Meanwhile, the drummer's off inside the van with the other one.
You hear that, girls? Guys can be musicians and still stay faithful.
Yeah, but, like, the guy now, he ended up leaving his wife that's playing guitar for them now for another woman he's married to now. I mean, I could have done that.
Jesus, isn't that what the drummer did, too?
No, Johnny didn't do anything.
I wasn't going to bring up his name, but...
No,
all right,
but he didn't do that. But Paul fell in love with this girl, and he just left his wife and ended up marrying a Baja
you
groupie.
name dropped him, too. I wouldn't have brought up
No,
his name.
he's he ended up marrying this girl. It was a Baja, but it's actually the marriage is working out pretty well.
Yeah, maybe.
They're having a good life.
Yeah, he's
They seem to be enjoying their life.
I mean, yeah, they enjoy each
She
other.
got a nice house down in East Falmouth, down the Cape, and they seem to really.
They're down in the Cape now?
Yeah, and he drives up to hometown every day to go to work.
Nice.
But, you know, that was my point is those girls were always there.
Yeah.
But we had this. I never broke the rule. You never took up with one of them. It was
No.
just they were great girls. Some of them, I loved them to death. They were nice to me, but you didn't do that.
No, it's not cool.
Yeah,
That's not
so
cool.
that happened.
You know, because like when I'd go see you play, like I remember seeing girls that were reoccurring there, and a lot of them were just like, "Yeah, he's just a cool guy."
There's some of them wanted to actually.
Well,
go
I
on.
know that, but I'm saying a lot of them there though were like, "Yeah, he's a good guitar player. He's a nice
A
guy."
right word the right way, and that would have.
Well, I was trying to make you look real good, Dad. Jeez.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but you never did. I just didn't do it.
I know you didn't.
You know, and it just wasn't worth it.
So how long into the Bajas before you guys started doing like the cruise and going down to? The
I don't.
Keys?
Something happened with that. They got a hold of us and asked us to do the Boston and Bermuda cruise. You can get paid, but what happened was you only played a couple times on the cruise.
So it was like a vacation.
You got a cruise out of for free, technically. So
What the fuck was that?
some car. But
sounded like a monster.
I know, but then you just it was just a cool thing to do.
Yeah.